Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Star Trek Warp Onyx campaign and the tales of Security Lieutenant Archibald. And today we're going to talk about returning to the Ion Storm to regain Eustace, the Martian miner, who the crew was paid a set of star maps, which are becoming extremely useful because the Vulcan star maps are all fake. So basically, the Martian miners who mine rock on Mars, there was a scientist there who was the best stellar cartographer of any human source, right? And she made these maps of the far regions using these powerful telescopes, and basically she asked for her son Eustace to be transported from Mars to her. The mother lives on Mars, father lives on Saturn, and she's like, my only cost for giving Starfleet these maps is you have to take Eustace from Mars to Saturn. Eustace then went AWOL. He did not even want to go on. He didn't want to be taken to Saturn, right? So as soon as he had an opportunity, he disappeared on the ship, and this has been an issue for a while. And Dr. Phlox actually gave Security Lieutenant Archibald a solution, which was the Chargal, which is this predator creature that could have tracked him down by scent, the way a basset hound could. But Security Lieutenant Archibald couldn't find his two then. And it was like, that's too dangerous. I was shocked he didn't take that, right? But anyway, so Eustace was still missing. So at this point, the Vulcan maps were found to be fake. And they're continuing forward on this deep, and by the way, the current mission of the Enterprise NX-01 is deep space exploration, and the scientists are collecting an immense amount of data, and the whole ship has shifted into a science stance, right? And so science is the most important part here. So at this point, there's another bridge meeting with all the bridge crew, and Tucker, Archer, Sato, Archibald, who's the lead of security now, and Phlox, and I think that's all the key players, right? And Mayweather. Okay. So at this point, everybody's on the bridge, and this person comes forward, and it's Starfleet officer Skeln, and she's a 70-year-old lady, right? An older lady. Now, the reason I put her in here was Strange New Worlds. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has a 70-year-old lieutenant, which is pretty cool. Thought that was interesting. So this old, grandmotherly matron type, comes out, and she says, my name is Skeln, and the reason I'm here is I have to admit something. So Eustace has been missing on the ship. He was supposed to be taken from Mars to Saturn. When we got to Saturn, we had to keep moving, and we never fulfilled our end of the deal, with that Martian miner, and Eustace was never returned, and he's been hiding on the ship, and nobody could find him. Well, I've been helping him, and where he was staying he had a foil tent outside the ship, so he was staying outside the ship in sealed suits every single day, and he was literally had this tent, this little tinfoil tent that he, it was a tinfoil type of material, and he was literally living outside of the ship, right? And he was living on the back of the scanner, one of the scanners, right? So they couldn't detect him because he was too close to the scanner itself, right? And I helped him by every 3 days he would come in, and I would give him food, and I would just talk with him, because it was really difficult for him to live like this but he really didn't want to go to Saturn, right? And so we were trying to figure out a good solution, but I have to, but the reason I'm telling you this now, which is all of this is against Starfleet regulations, and I'm probably going to lose my position because of this, but I really felt bad for the kid, and I think it was wrong for us to take him to Saturn against his will. And but the reason I'm telling you this is I haven't seen him in 3 days, right? And so at that point, everybody's like, wait, what? And she's like, I haven't, the last time I was supposed to check in and feed him, he was gone, right? So then there's this investigation portion and Archibald figures it out. And he's like, oh my gosh, if he was outside the ship when we were in the ion storm for 1 second, he's in the ion storm now, right? And everybody's like, uh-oh. So they're like, first of all, we already left the ions. So then the entire bridge crew starts talking about this. And Archer's like, we got a major problem because we just reached deep space. And this kid is important, of course, but the reality is we've configured the entire ship for a science layout. And there have been literally thousands of man hours and woman hours. Archer is woke. There you go. Thousands of woman hours and man hours. And this entire ship is configured for science. And we just got everything set. If we turn back around for the ion storms, it's gonna interrupt a whole bunch of surveys. We can't do this, man. This is like, we can't turn around to go get this kid. Also, Tucker, what's the odds, and actually he says to Paul, what are the odds that he's alive? And she's like 3% at best, right? He's like, so, I can't disrupt the ship to go back and get a corpse, right? And, but at this point, Skeln actually says, you got to go back for him. Even if you're only getting his corpse, his mother and his father need to know what's happened to him, right? So at this point, Archibald says, listen, Captain Archer, I have an idea. Give us a shuttlecraft and then have one of our allies pick us up and take us back, right? And then we'll go back to, with the shuttlecraft, to the ion storm, and we'll get him dead or alive and bring him back here, right? And actually, yeah, and bring him and return him, right? And Captain Archer's like, that's a great plan, fantastic, done and done, and you can choose your away team. So Mayweather and DePaul are currently on the outs because Mayweather doesn't trust DePaul because the Vulcans are faking these maps, and DePaul is Vulcan. I was blown away by this decision by the gold player. They had their player character, Lieutenant Archibald, put on the away team T'Pol and Mayweather, which I thought, man, that's brilliant. And it was really smart because Mayweather is legitimately needed because they're going to take a shuttlecraft into the ion storm. By the way, all this is like apples, bananas dangerous, right? Like, and like, you could barely escape the, the ion storm in the Enterprise NX-01, and you're just going to take a shuttlecraft in. But that is one of the coolest parts of playing with the gold player. I just read the 2024 Core Player's Handbook, and it's like, make your character team up and venture forth. And this is a one Dungeon Master, one Dragon Master Star Wars Adventures Modiphius 2d20 campaign. But man, this guy made his character. He's not teaming up because there's only one player. But he is venturing forth. He really fully embraces the concept of adventure, right, and risk. But he's also but he values his character. He's not considering his character as throwaway. It's exactly where that sweet spot where somebody who's really invested in a lot in their character, and I'm just absolutely blown away with how cool this is, and it's really, really cool. And so at this point, he's got his away team, and they're ready to get going. And I want to say thank you to letting me continue to tell you this epic tale of Security Lieutenant Archibald. Next time I'll continue, and we'll let you know what happens in the ion storm. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion on Star Trek Adventures, Modiphius 2d20 Warp Onyx campaign. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider like and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.